very, very good, weirdly, at times at surviving dive, just because of the movement speed of the Q, once you get that evolution, and of course, the passive. What this does, however, set up for is a pretty strong Galio game. So I'll see and hold my breath. Nemesis has plenty of options, whether they be utilitarian like that Galio, or a little bit more damage and side lane focused like the Akali. I think he's got a punch of freedom to do whatever the hell he wants, and he's going to give us an Akali game.
Okay, I like this. When you see both teams, more balanced, I think. But from your point of view, Solari and Yamada, where does it land? Where does the W is gonna land?
Ooh. I mean, I personally think that the lane matchups are pretty solid here for Verdant. Again, much like Game 1, but I do have a lot of faith in Ratones' ability to not only pilot those matchups, but then also kind of enable Velia off the back of small windows to, take massive leads like we saw off that level 1 setup in Game 1 too. So I'm leaning towards Verdant in terms of draft, but I feel like Ratones' macro and their overall mechanics is likely going to claw them through.
I am not convinced on how good Misfortune and Victor are going to look in this game, considering how oversteppy both teams were in the previous game, and these two champions can be punished really badly for that. At the same time, for Los Ratones, they have champions who
are example the previous game, right? Where, as we're going to straight into that game too, where in game 1, I feel like Los Ratones took so many disadvantageous fights on paper, but they came out of them with like blinking health passes because they outplayed their opponents, right? And this draft for me at least screamed Akali by Nemesis. You knew that Senkax was going to go for a control mage over in the mid lane, unless you want to blind Tristana, which can work, but then you have too much AD damage, right? Yep. Together with all the rest. So Akali is pretty much a no-brainer with champions like Ibai or Javan, who really like to dive deep, and they really like a body with them. And Akali does offer that body, and I'm actually worried for Shiganari. He wasn't allowed to play the fights in the previous game because of Ari Nafiri. This time around, he's going to have Jake.
Wait, shove bot side allows a potential roam. Double knock-up from Obstinatus buys a bit of a time here as Velia also takes a turret shot and needs to begin to back away, but look who's roaming down. There's the Maokai, there's the Victor. They are indeed assembling. Dun, dun, dun. Senkax looks for that side from Power, looks for the auto, can't quite find it, but gets the gravity field slow. And the final empowered order comes on down as Reckless is waddling around without a horse, and unfortunately, the big tree will be helping donate another kill over towards the Victor, who helps claim the feats of warfare as well towards Verdant. They just need a turret or a few objectives, and they'll have the full...
For Verdant, and rightfully so, as I'm going to hold on to this. They're diving Crowny here.
We'll try and find a way out, but heavy is the Crowny, and unfortunately not heavy enough to fly out to safety there, even on a cool spaceship courtesy of Crowny. I suppose it's a nice toboggan in this game, but the point still stands. He dies, second death for him in this bot lane. It's kind of falling apart now here a bit, Georgia. Shiganari, a person we've often praised and focused on as a focal carry point for Verdant. 32% of the team stand
off the map. And if you're a Los Ratones fan, then you're in your comfort zone. We're back to normal. Los Ratones early game, baby.
In across all time, Shiganari's played a lot of Misfortune. This will be his 16th game. Something like a 70% win rate on it, just shy, and this is looking pretty good for him so far. We can turn it into something a little bit more, of course, all the while. Lost Ratones do manage to stabilize a little, pick up a dragon, and again, it's not like the first time we've seen Lost Ratones mess up an early game and then find their ways back in the mid. They are so good at finding and picking up resources and relying on their mid-game prowess of a lot of their side laning to get back into games as BAUS. Let's get hit by that Darkin Blade Part 3. Another DRX skin, by the by. And Terran will not turn that around for anything more. I appreciate the synergy between top and bot there. Nemesis has found a roam timer, though, Georgia, and I think this Aatrox might now be in a spot of bother. Flash for the perfect execution. R2 is available and doesn't even need to burn it, just uses the Q instead.
It's not even needed. That was a great, actually, a champion on Akali. As right here, Verdant, they're trying to commit towards those void grabs. They call Velia.
Just to drag himself back out with the press of the E button. Velia now backs into the pit. They get the Maokai route down on a couple of people, but not to a huge avail. Terran, though, no ult, still in the pit. Gonna back away. They'll take the single grub and extract, not willing to stick around and fight, especially with Corki nowhere near. It's been a 4v3, I believe, as both AD carries not on the board there. So they'll give over 2 of the grubs, but not the full set. But still a marker towards the objective feat of strength, though, I will note. BAUS gets a decent bit of damage there onto Terran, and that'll be the end of it. Counterplay bot side into a good aggressive play just after. Of course, they would like to start keeping that up, though, as Reckless finding a re-engage onto Shiganari. Flashes away, but Nemesis
Nice.
looking to come on over, looking for the perfect execution. A bomber! Out comes the explosive cask and drinks Misfortune under the
Right
table.
here, but I'm not quite sure that he does have anything worthy of buying right now as BAUS. He's gonna continue proxying the wave. This is the time where Terran needs to actually head back to his tower because the wave is gonna be incoming.
Oh, doesn't quite get cast back towards him, but the flash body slam! And BAUS finds the solo. Drinks another one under the
What's the
table.
top side of the map?
Yeah, I think I spotted it too. There's the Cosmic Drive and a Storm Surge for the Akali as well. No mobility, just damage. They know what they want to do this game. They'll throw down the Cataclysm. Noodle is the target. They'll begin to pre-ult himself, but that bullet time was just not it, as Velia managed to flag and drag out. And so, without those key ultimates, I feel like Verdant are going to have to give this dragon up.
Yeah, that was quite unfortunate right there. Of course, Theron doesn't feel like he can walk into this river with just a couple of components in his inventory. This is a 4 versus 5. Verdant are literally stuck on spectator mode. You can't walk into the river. You can't take the fight. You can't push the mid lane tower. They need to figure out... Speaking of, I was about to say, hold up. Have you jinxed it? Oh, there we go.
Oh, flashes one, can't flash the rest. Over comes Tayron, a flash on out to safety. Turret shot's tagged by a Reckless, but Tayron can turn up and, I don't know, wave goodbye to his AD carry. About all he gets to do there.
I mean, we talked about Shiganari and his flash and how important it is to walk into these neutral objectives, and right now he doesn't have it. That's free food for Akali, Gragas, and anyone in between from the side of Los Ratones. 1,000 gold in the lead. Nemesis pushing towards that bot side of the map. They're going to get that bot lane tower. You see Velia has already invaded the bot side of the map, trying to take anything he can away from Noodle's jungle. And Verdant are taking whatever's left on the map, which is not the worst case scenario right here. Taking that Rift Herald, you could potentially look to open side lanes or that mid lane to try and catch anyone trying to shove in that wave a little bit too far. However, Verdant have sort of been falling into their own traps, right?
I just feel like BAUS has managed to find his way to a few good team plays already this game. Herald, though, was picked up earlier and is now dropped mid lane. It also as the Hextech Dragon is spawning, so uses a counterweight to force their way into River. TP behind, though. We're going, and in comes the BAUS. Looking to get on top of Shiganari, but of course, he's got Strut to work with right now. BAUS goes looking for it. Finds the explosive cask onto Senko. He's managed to back away, but Nemesis in the backside. Finishes what his partner in solo lane started. Does kind of get caught up by Noodle, though. Will get traded. Value a little bit split off himself. Looks to get on top of Senko. Throws down the gravity field. In comes the grand entrance. Senko's doing his best to stay alive. Gets another side for power. Flash for the auto. Can't quite get it. As Obstinado's trying to bounce around. Terra looking in. Gets another flag and drag. Will finally bring down the Rakan, but importantly, Senkox does survive. Ends up being a 2-for-2. Jungler dead, though, for Lost Returns. I'll note Verdant's health bars, not fantastic.
I'm not gonna lie, I just feel so bad for Shiganari, man. That flank from BAUS and Nemesis were just pixel perfect. Pinching him onto literally no man's land. You don't have flash, you don't get to play the team fights. And again, this is how miserable it is when you B1 a champion like Misfortune or any type of AD carry that doesn't move very easily. As I'm gonna hold on to that thought because Akali's coming back in and that's a 4 versus 4.
Do the 4 versus 4. Dragon, of course, being fought with no smite. Out comes the bullet time. Shiganari.
Not again! Not again!
Flip. Here comes the Storm Surge and that 5-point strike. Crowny now training up with Sango's got nowhere to go. Verdant Noodle are going to have to flash out the back, as is Tayron. They get out with the Dragon, but they lose 2 for the price.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's not He's looking. There's the
I just feel so... I just feel so bad for Shiganari. I mean, Tayron's gonna be fine here. But I just feel so bad for Shiganari, man. It's like, you don't have flash, you don't get to exist, you don't get to stand still to bullet time. Nemesis is also too slippery here, they won't be able to catch him.
Say that.
I mean, they've got the damage, right? And they've got the items. Noodle has gone for the double aggro item onto Maokai as well. The double burn aggro item onto the Maokai, and he's actually the only one who's on 2 items right now. Hold up. Obstinatus, and he's gone.
Get something back. They lose Obstinatus. Reckless now in a bit of danger. Taught on the wrong side of the gravity field, so it will be a trade of supports. On the other side, though, Tayron gets jumped on. Damage back, but here comes the healing. The bullet time is good enough to force Nemesis to R2 away. There's no D2 players in this game, though. They're all a little higher in the ranks than that. Jump onto Noodle, gets a bramble smash back, but BAUS throws out a cask and brings down the tree anyway. Lumberjack via explosives.
It's just so difficult, man. Verdant are trying to get any sort of vision inside their own jungle, and it's just not possible right now. You see how Los Ratones are using Fog of War to sort of flank around, right? Again, every single champion they have can play the teamfight however they please. They've got so much agency, each and every one of them for themselves. So they just bring Verdant in a situation where if you stick us 5, then Java gets a huge ult. If you don't stick us 5 and we isolate you, that's perfect. They've got so many type of assassins in the team to take you on. And right now, especially having the pocket to back it up with extra items is really, really hurting Verdant. If they can actually get a front-to-back going and not allow Akali to play onto this backline, it could potentially be the key to victory. And right here, Akali doesn't have ult. Doesn't matter. Arakan's already gone.
And take it before Verdant can come and try and use the 2 items they've largely picked up. Understandably, sticking around as a group.
But they have to always keep their eye on Nemesis, right? They've got a couple of wards behind them. They've got 2 control wards, if I'm not wrong. And they're trying to play with their back against that mid lane. But this is where BAUS comes from. Nemesis is now through the jungle. The other side is full of Los Ratones members.
Oh, there comes the Cataclysm, and down goes Corki, though. That's not bad work. Bullet time is solid. Finds a lot of damage on Devillia. Has to flash away. BAUS split up from the team. Terran beginning to jump at him. Just gets a body slam over the wall. Looking for some more damage. Senkus with a Lich Bane on this Victor. Can look to play around those Siphon Power autos a little bit more. Nemesis takes the Hex Gate. Will immediately get out to safety, but that does mean with that member down, Verdant can look to take this dragon.
Yeah, and Terran is actually keeping BAUS in check, at least for the time being. Doesn't want to let him in. There are a few low HP bars right here. Nemesis and BAUS are playing with them.
Ask away, but they can look to try and catch him out as the Make It Rain comes on down. Misfortune turning into a meteorologist briefly as I fumble that word. There's a lot of M's and O's and various other things in there. And
Verdant focused all their efforts onto getting one member. That one member was Crowny, and that was a 4 versus 5 instantly in favor of Verdant.
Noodle just died, and guess what spawned about a minute ago? It is Baron. You've got a Corki on 2 items. Do they want to force this? They're certainly threatening it. Over towards it they go. BAUS shoving in the other side. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. LR, start the purple worm.
Yeah, BAUS does not have TP. Just gets his level 16 and starts walking towards the objective. The TP coming through from Terran.
Try and play this around again. No smites. It would be a 4v5. Terran trying to play this one out regardless. Nemesis still in the Twilight Shroud, looking for an angle. Into the backline they go with the quickness. Trying to buy some time. Nemesis continuing to threaten. They've got the mid-tier 1 to work around still. And Crowny kills off Senkus. In comes the Cataclysm. The bullet time to try and stand and deliver. As Shigenari tries to draw the guns at noon. But it's a final hour in this game. Terran tries to jump on forwards, but will die. Regardless, World Ender unfortunately apt for Verdant's team fight.
Oh boy, you saw how Verdant was so careful trying to play underneath ult. And again, this Gragas has been so disruptive for both Senkus and Shigenari. And there's only so much you can do, right? You can be careful, but you can never know where the cask is going to come from as Obstinatus. Trying to get a little bit of intel on what's going on. We all know what's going on. I think they know what's going on as well.
Apparently, it's getting the Baron as Obstinatus hops back over the
Doing
wall.
so well this game is entering the
What?
Where did my Victor go?
He decided that he was going to go to the Shadow Realm. He's playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Now rather than League of Legends, and BAUS has decided
grandpa.
to help tonight. Exactly. There are no weak players in my grandpa's team, but currently there is a dead Senkus, and he'll respawn in 30 seconds and look to prove Yugi true at some point in the future.
That's actually so tough. You're playing against Baron up team, full 5 members of Los Ratones, 3 waves pushing towards your base. Crowny and Reckless around that mid lane. You've got Nemesis and Velia over on the bot side of the map. This is going to be 2 outer towers taken straight away from the side of Los Ratones. That's a pretty successful Baron buff so far. And it comes from BAUS. Taking just a member off the map means that you have to bundle up the rest to try and defend the other sides of the map. Unless, well, oh my damage.
He has a death cap, by the way.
Gragas. You're playing against BAUS's Gragas. Talking about it, though.
Okay. Trying to catch him off. They go for the bush bait on the other side of the map where the dragon is. Good dash away. The strut is enough. Misfortune on the catwalk. Mid-team fight. Gets herself out to safety. Got a man advantage now coming into the dragon. 20 seconds until it spawns. This would be so point for either team. And Verdant, I think, want to take this moment to finally find a way back into the game.
Yeah, but what's the vision again? Nemesis on the left side. Reckless on the bottom. Velia and Crowny on the right. That's just, again, a sandwich that Los Ratones are trying to create right here. They're trying to buy time for BAUS to come back online. 30 seconds on the death timer and TP up and available. Is Los Ratones going to take this fight? There are summoner spells on Shigenari and Senkus, This is not going to be as easy to get to the backline.
Nemesis currently taking Raptors. Are they going to give up this dragon? Maybe they don't want this play. I think it is gone. No way for Velia to get over from where he is. He'll throw out the Maokai ult, trying to punish them as they're in the wrong side of the jungle of Lost Ratones. Managed to back away.
Casks and Akalis and Jarvans and all the damage thrown their way by Los Ratones and smite that dragon. There is a chance for a comeback.
Well, we said it was looking like that coming into that Soul Point fight, and they still managed to fight it. It's still not been perfect, of course, because they end up taking a lot of structural damage from it. Honestly, probably critical structural damage. An inhibitor in mid lane, and at least the inhibitor turret in bot really stinks. That's 8,000 gold now for Lost Ratones, and the control you talked about in the jungle still sat there. There's 1 or 2 wards.
Oh,
That's about
no.
it, and they're a long way away.
Poor Summer Child.
Yeah, Obstinatus may well be in so much danger. Gets cashed away to safety. So Futures...
Not fair, not like that.
Shopping! The high street stores are back in business, and BAUS is looking to bring him down. Senkuk stays alive for a second or two, gets cast, looking to stay alive for a moment more, and that is it. BAUS.
Spain and Los Ratones are going to start that one up. 25 more seconds for Senkuk watching that grey screen in his face, and I don't think there is much fight right here for Verdant to try and take that step forward, I guess, to get anywhere near Baron.
Yeah, it's not happening, is it? They're going to lose the Baron. There'll be a reset coming on through. There's a minute and a half until Dragon, which you know Lost Returns will then be able to play for. But you can already see that Verdant is saying, screw it. We're getting as many wards down as we can in the enemy jungle. We want to make sure that we can try and contest this Dragon in some way, shape, or form. Problem is that Lost Returns said, fine, we're going to push this.
Push these waves, get aggressive vision. Everything has been swept from Los Ratones as well. That was inside their jungle. Very, very clever right there. From the side of LR. And Obstinatus trying to get a knockup,
Here we go.
but...
There's that Magnet Storm, but indeed, it's looking like that might be a very aggressive form of that connective. Noodle gets cast away, stays alive for a second. Senkuk does not. Belly in the backside, Nemesis with the perfect execution, part 2. And unfortunately for Verdant, game 2 is looking like a done deal in favor of Lost Ratones. They care not for the Dragon. They care for the end of the game. BAUS will teleport down to the inhibitor in bot lane, and they will run these Baron-empowered minions straight to the Nexus, and a win in game 2.
A little bit of a longer game right here. A classic Los Ratones early game that brought us all the way here. But this is going to be match point for Los Ratones. One